Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is my first video, so the camera quality is going to be a little bad, but hopefully it's going to get better over time. This is my dad's Mini, and today I'm hopefully going to be starting it up and getting it tuned by me, so it's not going to be amazing, but hopefully it will run better than it did. But first I need to put the spark plugs in because they're not there. They are actually in that car, but I've got some new ones. The plugs that we're going to be putting in need to be gapped. This is why I'm going to be using one of these. This is a feeler gauge. The plugs that we have, well, mini plugs, are meant to be gapped to 25 thou. Get the spark plug out. And this is the spark plug, obviously, duh, it's a spark plug. And on the feeler gauge, if you find the 25 thou, I don't really trust this one because it's been worn a lot. Basically what you do, so I can't hold the camera. I'll just leave it there. Basically, you put the feeler gauge in the middle and tap the spark plug, and eventually it'll be gapped to it. So it will slowly cramp down onto that feeler gauge, and it'll become the same size as that. Notice how I can squeeze it through? Still space. Getting better. There we are. Can only just squeeze through. That's gapped. That's a good plug. That's how you do the spark plugs. I'm now going to put you over on this tripod so you can watch me both gap the plugs and fit them. The spark plugs are now in, but since this car is just a rolling chassis, there's no fuel tank in it. The fuel tank's actually in the back seat, so it usually goes there. So my dad's about to go to fill up the fuel canister so we can run it in there. But also, there's no battery. The battery is actually in this car, and we need to take all this stuff out, including the carpets, and get the battery out from inside the boot. Let's do that now. To change out the battery, you need one of these. This is a 1/2-inch socket. Since the Mini's metric, it doesn't do millimeters, it does inches. This is a 1/2 inch. Your Mini could differ, but this is mine. The battery is now out of the car, as you can see. Make sure you always disconnect the negative terminal first instead of the positive, because that bad things could happen if that happened. And now you put the battery in the other car. And we're only going to connect the positive terminal because we want the negative terminals to be coming on and off whenever we're working on this car. And this battery is only going to be in it for a little while because this car isn't road legal, road ready. So turn it on, just dink, straight on. And now the car should be live, which this means that if we put the keys in ignition, but that requires us to close this because this specific Mini is a bit weird like that. You have to have that locked for it to close. We should have life. Yes, we do, which means it cranks over. Good. My dad has actually just left to go get the fuel, which means it leaves us to check some stuff inside the car to make sure it's ready to be started. First of all, let's check the water. Just simply taking off the cap. If you look in there, there's some water, but the level seems to be a bit low. So put the cap here and we'll go get a watering can full of water. Okay, I now have the watering can. I don't advise doing this, carrying a vessel full of water by an engine, but it should be fine. All I have to do is fill it up. Being careful not to spill it over the rest of the engine. And I can now see the water level, and I'm going to slowly take it up, and I have to stop pouring right before it reaches the cap. As you can see, that water is not the nicest for some reason. I wonder why. But that's just before it reaches the cap, which is good. So there's a little space for air to gain pressure when it gets warm. Now that the radiator is full, we can now put on the radiator cap, put it back on. And the next thing to check is the oil, and we use the oil dipstick for this. When you check the oil, make sure you pull the dipstick out and have a rag to hand, because you pull the dipstick out, then wipe it off on a rag. Actually get all of the oil off, then dip it back in to the dipstick hole and pull it back out. Then you can inspect how much oil it has. This oil is quite new, but as you can see, it's actually slightly above the max. That's good. It means there's oil. I have now got the fuel tank in here. I didn't want to have to finagle it into place and put all the piping in with the phone. But I got plenty of duct tape around it to make sure there's no fumes getting into the cabin, because that will be bad if any of these spark. And now we'll let the engine warm up so it's ready to be tuned. What we need to watch for now is the oil pressure and that temperature gauge to make sure they both stay correct, because this car hasn't run since summer last year. The engine is now almost all the way warmed up. We're now going to raise the revs to 2000 RPM with the choke in, and we're going to do the timing. Make sure the timing is correct.
The issue, too much advance in the car. You can time it right in a minute. Bring it up to 2000. Bring it up to 2000. Yeah. So turn the way again to 2000. retard the timing quite a bit. It's going so far to top of the move, but yeah. So you slacken off the 12 miles away. We're going to retard the timing because we want it. It's way too advanced. Right, the trigger's hold. So balance and you're ready to do that. Timing's way too advanced. Miles, like by about 30 degrees too advanced.
Really?
How did that happen? Because we didn't use a timing light to get it going, we just guessed.
Yeah, don't guess.
Yeah, don't guess. And we didn't really know how to set it up, but we've learned that.
Yeah. So to advance it, which way do I turn? Because I've loosened
So you wanna retard it, and
Yeah.
it goes anti-clockwise.
So
you want to
That
lighten
way.
it, so you turn it anti-clockwise so that it fires. Turn it a good. Yeah, that'll do.
yeah.
Right, make sure it's loose enough that you can still turn it, but tight enough that it doesn't move by itself.
Wiggle room in here.
That's why you want to be able to move it without shutting the engine off. But
Wait, don't. Let's move it.
it's still too loose. Yeah, make it tighter so that you can give it quite a.
I think it was already quite loose.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah, I've tightened it more than I've loosened it, and it's still really.
Is it really quite loose? Is it?
Yeah. We were already trying to tune it a while ago. Yeah, that's fine. So try that.
Okay, are you able to move it just about? Yep. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
The screwdriver. Camerawork to see downward. Just have a little look inside it and see where it's located. It's still really far above. But it's not too early. Not above it. Okay, well that's fine because that's what the advance does is they're idle. The advance brings it forward. So now we're bringing it up to 2,000. So we're going to set it. Turn it down. 5 minutes. Yeah.
it randomly move when I saw smoke. It was probably just burning something off. But I just saw it randomly just accelerate itself down.
Well,
It's loose, it's a bit loose.
is that too loose, is it? Is it still loose? It should be.
Not loose.
Yeah?
What's the temperature at? Because it's hot.
Yeah, well, you set that at 2000 RPM, so it's going to get quite hot.
Okay, do you want to, well, it was smoking a little bit, so turn it back on. Because I saw it randomly move, like jump down. That could have been because I touched it and then moved it.
Might, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
That's what 750, isn't it?
Okay, nice, that's fine.
That?
Nothing makes it work. What's it timing at now?
Miles below.
Yeah, that's because the vacuum advance is bringing it forward.
Yeah.
Try giving it a little lift then.
It's all hot. It's all hot. It's all very hot. Yeah. Zero around. That's not bad.
That sounds really good, doesn't it?
Suddenly it's better.
Yeah. That's really hot. Wow. Just keeping yourself cool. I'll find the tap working. 72 degree thermostat. It's way too advanced.
It was like miles in advance. What I've done is I've turned this clockwise, clockwise to try and bring the timing back to where it was. To try and advance it. The note is retarded, apparently. Yeah.
What are you aiming for when you... What were you aiming for? Timing wise?
We're aiming for about 6 degrees of timing, which is on the third notch of this engine. With the timing line.
With the vacuum line off?
Yeah.
2000 RPM.
Yeah. I made sure to fill up the fuel with the water to make sure that I don't have water in the radiator and everything. That's done right now.
Yeah, perfect, good.
Yeah. So that's how to tune it. Very basic tune. Well, basically told, but a basic tune in general. And now the car runs so much better than it did before. And it's just 6 degrees of timing. Well, you won't be able to see now. If you look down here, you're not going to be able to see with that. But 6 degrees of timing with the vacuum line off and the engine at 2000 RPM. The engine is also now fully warmed up at 80 degrees, perfect. And the oil pressure is also perfect. Tune completed.